Welcome into Defeating the Curse. This is the FPLP show. Taylor Heinicke week. Taylor Heinicke season. He took over. Wentz is injured. Please don't play him again. I have never been more excited this season than I am right now for the Washington Commanders, led by Taylor Heinicke, facing the Indianapolis Colts, starting a first time ever starting QB because somehow, some way, we won the QB carousel with Wentz over Matt Ryan. It's a lot to discuss. It's a lot to unpack. Aaron Rodgers is old. The Green Bay Packers lost to us, and Taylor Heinicke has green and yellow Jordans on. LP,
I
what's
don't
up?
know. I don't know why you're surprised. I'm pretty
That
sure
Taylor
on
Heinicke
this
is better.
podcast, I told you several weeks ago that this is the way that Ron Rivera teams go. Start out slow the season, come on a little bit
You
of a
can't
run, get on a little bit of a heater,
you
start out
can't
every
say
game
that.
slow.
You can't say that without mentioning that the injury report does it better at maintaining our roster than the coaching staff.
Oh, I'm
Wentz
not saying
being
that.
hurt, Billy Jack being benched because he has a bad back. It's all
He's not
garbage.
benched because he had a bad back. He's benched because he only knows how to play zone
The point
coverage
is the
or
injury
he only knows how to
report
play man coverage and we
helped
play
this
zone.
coaching staff turn this team around. I don't even
100%.
know if this team is turned around because we have
The
yet to
defense
have a dominating win.
I
You
would
see the
say
the
the
Bears
Green
against
Bay
the
closest was
Patriots.
the closest game to a dominating win. Our offense was better, our defense was better, our special teams was better.
The
It was
Bears
way
beat the
too close to comfort.
Patriots in a commanding way, right? We have yet to do that all season. We are 3 or 4 plays away,
We have yet to
calls
do that
away
in the
from
past
being
10
0
years.
and 6. You have to realize that. We're 4 ref calls and dropped balls away from being 0 and 6. Now on the flip side, we're one
That's the
Carson
NFL.
Wentz interception away in the red zone from being 4 and 2 or whatever, 4 and 3. So it could go either way. That's the
That's how
NFL.
the
You're right.
NFL is. There's no Yeah, I mean you can always go back and play that game of what if this, what if that, what if Joey Slye didn't miss, what did he miss?
But
A kick
but
in the Bears game, a kick in this game. It doesn't matter. Like you can always go back and say this one player, that one play. It, Jonathan Allen said it on his interview this week with the Junkies is that, football is a game of inches, is a game of seconds, is a game of 1 or 2 plays. Like, and Ron says that all the time. You can always take a game and look at 4 plays that change the game. And that's just how it is. I mean,
I
you
get
could say
that.
that
And
about every team.
before we dive into the Green Bay game, I mean, you also have to look, I've given Ron a pass on the season. Losing Wentz absolutely has given him a pass to go through the season and probably earn next year. But the truth is, the coaching staff, while like look, JDR off the hit list, right? The defense looks way better. May that be William Jackson benched or not, the defense looks way better. We have like the best safety tandem in the NFL with Defoe and Curl. Like the defense looks fantastic, and that's still without Chase coming in, and we'll discuss if and when he comes in. But you also, again, and it pains me to keep mentioning this, but you look at Dable and the Giants, they're 6-1 because that
They
coaching
play to the
staff,
strengths of the team.
right? That coaching staff somehow finds ways to win those one possession games where we, with Heinicke, just found a way to win a close game like that. I love Heinicke. That's what I'll say
Yeah.
about Sunday. I love Heinicke.
What I'll say about Sunday is I don't understand Scott Turner. Uh,
Agreed.
his playbook and his play calling is so bipolar that he'll have a great called game, right? We saw that against Jacksonville. Then he throws out 2 or 3 duds in a row. Now Taylor Heinicke comes in. Maybe he knows the offense better. Maybe he knows the playbook better. You had a lot of unique things that went into the play calls. Like you saw Curtis Samuel getting the ball in the backfield. You saw Terry McLaurin get targeted the most he's been targeted since like week 3. You saw all those things that were different, and you're thinking in your head, what the hell? Why weren't where was this the past 6 weeks?
But
Like,
you're
why
right.
can't you just be consistent?
Is it Scott Turner? Or is it the comfort that Heinicke has? Because Heinicke has what, 5 years
Heinicke,
comfort in this system, 4 years comfort in this system. He was with Scott Turner in
Minnesota,
Carolina,
Carolina,
Minnesota. Yeah,
and
so he has
then
a lot of experience in
two
this
and
system.
2 seasons and a few games here. Either way, take the quarterback out of it. Like the way that we ran B-Rob, the way that we ran Gibson on the edge against the Bears and against the Packers, like those things, like it's handing the ball off, it's schemes, it's offensive line, it's so much more than just the quarterback, and that's my issue with Scott Turner. Like it's just not consistent.
Right. Well, I mean, as far as the line goes, Heinicke 100% is the reason why the O line looked halfway decent against Green Bay
Yeah,
because of
because
his
Wentz is the most
maneuverability.
immobile quarterback
Yes,
in the
and Wentz
NFL
is a
since
deer in the
Peyton Manning.
headlights. Yeah, he freezes, and I think that Lions game where we gave up all those sacks, and then the Eagles game, right? I think he lost all trust in any protection, and it
Yeah,
bit us
but
hard.
yeah, part of that was also we had Schweitzer in there. We had
Yeah, we did some
no one at
shuffling,
center.
of course.
So this has also been the best O line that like position wise that we've put together all season. Even considering week 1, right? We started Norwell and Trey
I
Turner.
mean, Norwell's still
Both
in, but yeah.
Trey Turner has been out. The center has been out. Sam Cosmi has been out. So I mean that's 3 of the 5 linemen who have been out. So
Look,
I
I
don't know.
mean,
We should still rejoice and be glad that
yes,
we're on a
yes,
2-game win streak, and we've got the Colts
agreed.
coming up with Sam Ehlinger, who's never played in the NFL, right? Came from Texas. I don't even know if they were bowl bound in Texas, but I mean, he's a rookie,
Did you?
right?
I don't know if you caught this, but I don't know if you watch or listen to the Pat McAfee show. Um, but he was it's a nice little cough there you got. But apparently Ellinger is built like a horse, is what he says. Like thick, Saquon Barkley bottom half essentially is how he's built. I don't know if that's a good thing for him. Does that mean he's less mobile? Is he going to juke us, run through us? I'll be very interested. There's two storylines on this game, right? There's Taylor Heinicke versus Ellinger instead of the the Wentz comeback tour. But the second headline is Irsay versus Snyder, right? That's also happening this week. That's going to get a lot of traction in the media and the commentary and the pregame. It's an interesting week, and that's still with. I don't think Chase got activated to practice this week, so he's not going to play that game. But 2 wins in a row change the DNA of this team player wise. They looked like they played up when Heinicke came in. They looked like you saw like Scary Terry and the ferociousness and calling for the ball, shouting on the sideline, shooting Ron a look, and Ron having like this pleasing grim like grin thing that he like shot back. I don't know what that means, but like the players definitely elevated their game because we've been discussing it all week. This locker room, they love Heinicke more than Wentz. And I'm not knocking Wentz, and I'm not saying all the trash that the Colts and the Eagles and all those fan bases said is true. But this locker room plays for Heinicke. They
Yeah,
like the
it's
dog in
not
him. They like
it's
the
not that
fight
they
in him.
didn't like Wentz,
Right. They just
and it's
connect
not
more with
like
Heinicke.
yeah, Heinicke's a boy, and I just think that Heinicke's personality and everything that he comes with is just that guy who you walk into a room, he's fun, he's
Yeah.
energetic,
Yeah.
and then there's the whole underdog story, right? Like I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
they're rooting for this guy who was sleeping on his sister's couch in the basement, to
Yeah.
make a comeback into the NFL. So there's all those things that play into the into factor into this game.
Yeah.
Um, that
I mean, his post
maybe
game, he's like, "I'm gonna go drink a beer in the parking lot as soon as I'm done talking to you." Like he's wearing the team colors of on Jordans of teams he's beat. Like out, like, remove football, right? Like, if you're just like a group of guys, and let's say you throw a party, Carson Wentz throws up. It's like, hey, Carson, yeah, come, feel free to hang out. Yeah, that's cool. All right, yeah, beer's over there. But then Heinicke walks in, and like they're gonna dap him up, high five him. Like it's all of a sudden like a completely different vibe when Heinicke walks in. That's not knocking Wentz. It's
Yeah,
just these guys connect with Heinicke, and you know they're like, we want him to get that $125,000 game bonus. We want him to buy the next pair of Jordans. We want to see that. It's almost like Clinton Portis back in the day when he would stroll in different costumes. It's like that sort of non-football camaraderie that you're getting that brings out the good play in everybody else.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and us as fans, we all say that too, right? Like, how energetic was this town when we found out that Heinicke was going to be the starter for the next 4 to 6 weeks, right? No one was like, well, that sucks that we
Yeah,
missed our starting quarterback. And it
everybody
wasn't a
was like,
knock
I
on
feel it.
Wentz because
Mm-hmm.
literally a week later, probably 75% of the town were like, yeah, Wentz is doing a great job. He's just not getting help from his O-line. And all these, we were all making excuses for him because we saw the cannon of the arm, because we saw the potential
Right.
that this offense can do.
And we
So
can play the hypotheticals, right? Like, let's say Wentz doesn't play for the rest of the year, and we save that third round pick from becoming a second round pick. Let's say Ron Rivera restructures Wentz and he sticks around because, let's be honest, no other team is going to go out and try to pull him, right? So from a QB room and consistency, I can see us keeping Wentz. And again, this is like the homer in me, the glass half full. I can see the excuses we made for Wentz were valid. And if he has an entire season to familiarize himself with this playbook and off season, and he comes into next season, and you have true QB competition depending on what Heinicke does. But I don't think Wentz was essentially the number one issue. And I think there's a way you can maybe pull out elite play from him again. But as of right now, this season, he was not the answer.
yeah,
And
and the
I
good thing
don't want
is,
us to revert back to him in 4 to 5 weeks. Even if Heinicke splits the next 4 games, I don't want us to go back to Wentz. I would want, if anything, you go to Howell. Wentz, to me, should be done for the season.
I think if he serves his time, and if it's 6 weeks, that's probably roughly 75% of the snaps that he's missed, anyways. So
I
you're
think it
you're
says if he
probably
misses 4 games and plays, then the 75% is not hit or is hit. If he misses 5 games, the 75% is not hit. It's
yeah,
like
and
very
but it
fine
also
line.
depends on how many offensive drives you get per game, all those things, right? If you look at the averages,
Yeah,
it's probably 5 or 6 games. Now, say he misses 6 games and Heinicke goes 4-2. There's absolutely no reason why Wentz would get his starting job back.
agreed.
Say we go 2-4. Well, in that case, you're sitting at
Season
five
shot.
and
Yeah,
nine or whatever.
season's
Season's over
shot.
at
Go
that point.
Howell.
Go to Howell.
Yep.
Right. Now, probably what's likely is we go 3-3. We're still in the hunt. We're still close, and then it's a toss-up.
Yeah, very very true. And
So
actually, the negativity in me thinks somehow the Colts game is now a trap game for us, and Ehlinger balls out, and we're not prepared for it, and maybe he's more mobile than we thought, or maybe he's just like quick triggered and is making reads faster than we can adjust. It would not surprise me if everyone is high on this defense and Pro Football Focus and Twitter analysis and PFT and all these articles are saying like, oh yeah, the Commanders defense started slow and now they're ranked second and third in almost every category. It would not surprise me for the Colts to come out, run it down our throat. Jonathan Taylor day and night, and Ehlinger hitting some Bobo wide receiver that nobody knows for 2 touchdowns. It wouldn't surprise me, but
it wouldn't surprise me, but one thing that we've actually been consistent at is getting pressure at the quarterback.
yes,
And last week against Green Bay, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, hands down, the best quarterback at not getting hit and not getting
yes,
sacked. right? We didn't sack him, but we still had pressure in his
We were
face.
there. Yeah,
And
we scared
and
him
you
from
could see
making good
that on,
throws.
yeah, he
And
wasn't sharp.
that's
He
the key
wasn't
to the
there.
game, right? Like the
So
key
that's
to
why I
all of
think,
Sunday comes down to that pressure and hit him fast, hit him early, and then the rest of the game is a lock.
yeah, I generally have a theory that anytime there's a backup quarterback that comes in, there's always one game. It's usually the first game that he does great and they end up winning the game. Now, I can see that debunked with a good pass rush and a sound defense, which I think we're at now. I think we can actually say we're a solid defense.
Yep.
I don't think we're elite, obviously. I still think the secondary's got holes. Wild Goose is, is essentially a starter who was basically cut from the Jets. So you
We did
can't
just
say
bring up
that.
Danny Johnson from practice squad. I think he's better than the other scrub that we had that got put on IR. I forgot his last name was like Carlos Santiago or something. I forgot his name. That's just me sort of being racist, but
Carlos Rogers? Yeah,
the truth
I
truth
I
is
like
like
BSJ on the outside. I like Fuller on the outside, and whether it's Danny Johnson or Wild Goose in the slot,
yeah,
I think that's a recipe still for
it's gonna
success.
be the same thing that we saw. Like the Packers wide receivers, bunch of nobodies, right? Like Lazard was their best, and we had him locked down. Bunch of nobodies on the Colts as well as far as receiving goes.
Do they still have T.Y. Hilton?
If I that's like saying Green Bay has Sammy Watkins. Like who cares if the ghost of T.Y. Hilton is still there? Nothing's gonna happen. Like he should not burn us. Should not burn us. But then, I mean, you look at this defense outside of like the front line. The front line is doing theirs, right? And that might be Kerrigan is now part coach. That might be the D line coach that we fired, and then the new Swole guy came in as the coach. I forgot his name too. D line aside, we have to talk about kind of the linebacking core because suddenly after 2 games, the 2 wins, Jamin Davis has not been a liability. Cole Holcomb, as much as we hate him and we knock on him, he has been steady and he's slowly progressing into becoming this like London Fletcher Jr. Nothing special, nothing flashy, no big sack dance, no Khalil Mack type pressure.
Yeah, he's not the fastest, he's not the
But
strongest,
he's
and he's
London
not the
Fletchering
smartest.
where he's there, he makes the stop, and almost every other play on defense is tackled by Cole Holcomb
Yeah.
is the outcome. And I'll take that 100 out of 100 times.
Now he is on the injury report today and did not practice, but it is
There was a
Wednesday,
lot
so
of
it's
injury report today.
still early.
There's a big injury report though.
Yeah, let me pull that
Dotson,
up.
I think, is still out. Cole was hurt. I think Logan was practicing. I think Charles Leno was out.
Cole Thomas was out. Here we go. Shadiq Charles was out with an illness. Doxson was out with his hammy. Holcomb is out with a foot. Jackson is a DNP. Cole Turner was out with the foot. Diami was limited, so that's good to see him back. Logan limited, so he's looks like he's coming back, and then Jonathan Williams coming back, and then Cosme was a full today, so he was active on Sunday but didn't start. But I could see him.
Cosme's
That's a good
B-word.
question.
Cosme's a B word.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't want to see him playing with a club on his hand.
I mean, old late 90s, 2000s linemen would play with 2 clubs on their hands and use them as weapons.
He's not good enough to play with 2 full hands. What makes you think he's good enough to play with 1 hand in a club?
Yeah.
I know all the jokes of, well, he's not going to hold anymore, but that doesn't, like, who cares? Like, he's still going to get burned. And Lucas is a very solid swing tackle.
Yeah.
Like, he
really
is our Ty and Seki.
Yeah. Man, I would love me some Ty and Seki, Morgan Moses back, Eric Flowers. I would love all those guys back, assuming that they're still playing at a high level.
I think Ty and Seki's got to be in his 40s at this point.
And on half an ankle.
Yeah.
I
think this team is on the up. Indy this week, 4:00 game.
If you win three in a row, I mean, I think we're still in wild card whole battle positioning.
At the beginning of last week, we were a game out from that last wild card
I
spot.
think that's still the
It's
case.
still probably the case, but maybe half a game or close. The problem is you have Dallas,
Yep.
New York, and Philly, who
Yeah.
are 5-1. What is it?
5-1, 5-1, and
It's
6-0.
6-0.
Yeah.
And
It's
I think
insane. No,
we're a game
Giants
out.
are 6-1. Eagles are 6-0. Cowboys are 5-1. Or no, they might be 6-1 too.
6-1 as well. Either way, I
It's
mean,
insane that the
that's
East
insane that
turned into NFC least to NFC beast after one offseason. Like everybody got the memo except the Commanders, and they just
but the real question is are they going to be able to keep that up? Like are they
so
all going to go 13 and 4?
they're those three teams, maybe actually all three teams, very strong run game, very strong defense. Dak and Daniel Jones, not the strongest QBs. Somehow Jalen Hurts is a strong QB, but that's because they keep surrounding him with weapons. But the recipe is there, and I think that's what Ron is going to preach to the team. Is he's going to be like, look at these teams, look at their weapons, look at what they're doing, right? You can't tell me that Heinicke is that much lower than Daniel Jones. I don't think that's true. Because the biggest thing that Daniel Jones brings to the Giants is his scramble ability, right? And he's making simple, smart decisions. And all of a sudden, he addressed the mistakes, and then all of a sudden Saquon's in playing at an elite level again, and that defense is keeping them in every single game, right? That's the recipe, right? Cowboys with Zeke and Pollard, and then all of a sudden their defense, it's we're there, like we're right there at that same exact recipe of maybe not elite QB play, but if B-Rob and Gibson truly are becoming this strong 1-2 punch for our running game, and Terry and Curtis start playing or getting looks as if they are elite because of Heinicke, and this defense truly does step up, and Chase comes back, and losing Billy Jack helps you in the back end, and this defense shuts down the explosive plays. We have the same structure as these other NFC East teams, right? Now,
Yeah, 100.
coaching
Yeah,
might be
100%.
the biggest difference,
And the setback at the beginning of the season, right?
right?
Starting
And
out
digging ourselves a hole.
2-4 it doesn't help.
But when you look at this schedule, like bring up the schedule, right? You have what is it? It's Colts and then it's Vikings and then it's Eagles, I think, that way, or it might be Colts, Eagles, Vikings. But then you mix in the Texans, you mix in the Falcons, you mix in the Niners, who are great, but they're not like Jimmy G can be sacked, can make mistakes, right? That's what you kind of hang your helmet on there. And then it's just a bunch of NFC East matchups. So
You got the Colts, the Vikings, the Eagles. Vikings and Eagles back to back is going to hurt. The Eagles game is a primetime game. Is that a Thursday or a Sunday? 8:15. The Texans, the Falcons, the Giants back to back. The Niners, the Browns, the Cowboys.
so let's say the NFC East teams hypothetically. Let's call those losses. Let's just say we go 0-6 NFC East teams.
I think you're done at that point because you're at 10 losses.
No,
No, you're at 8 losses.
8 losses. That's about right for what we predicted for the season.
The Vikings are a good team.
Yeah, but the Vikings' strength is Justin Jefferson. So if you
Yeah.
just zero in on him and then you assume we can stop Dalvin Cook, what else do they have? That's also Kirk's first game back at FedEx. So that's a little big too.
He'll probably tear us up. Yeah.
Probably.
So if you lose all the NFC East games and you lose the Vikings games, you're at 7-9.
Yep, that's about where we predicted it. And that
I think you can squeeze
as
out at
weak
least
as the
one
NFC
or two NFC East games.
as weak as the NFC is, 7-9 might be enough for that last wild card spot. It's
I
insane
doubt
to
it.
say that.
I doubt it.
As of right now, the landscape of the NFC, it's
I don't think
possible.
it wouldn't be 7-9. It'd be,
7 and
if it's
10,
9 losses, yeah, it'd be 8-9.
8 and 9.
Because the extra.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's say like Cowboys are the last game of the season. They probably rest everybody.
Yeah, but think about this. If you flip two of the NFC East games, say you can squeeze out the Cowboys and one of the Giants games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't
That's
truly
10
believe.
wins.
I don't believe in the Giants at all, and I think their 6-1 is the flukiest 6-1 ever. I think it's like going up against the 11-0 Steelers, and we got that win. I do not believe in that Giants team at all. So, are you telling me that like we can't get in Daniel Jones' face and all of a sudden make him discombobulated and make all these mental errors? It's very possible. So
Yeah, and it's very
let's say
possible that
you flip both Giants games. You get a resting Cowboys on the last game of the season, and let's say you steal one of the Vikings or the Eagles games, right? So there's 4 right there. Let's say you take Falcons and Browns, okay, and Colts. There's 3 more. So there's 7 wins. You're looking at 10 wins right there already.
yeah, it's possible. I mean,
You could very easily get to 10 if
the way that you
if
played
your
on Sunday
trajectory stays. Yes.
is your recipe to getting to 10 wins. Be
Although I
sound.
think the week we play the Browns is Deshaun Watson's first game eligible or something stupid like that, and he probably comes out and torches us, or hopefully he's rusty. I don't know.
Who knows what the Browns are going to be like at that point
They
in
might
the
not have
season.
Kareem Hunt either, so it might be just the Nick Chubb show. It's 10 wins is not.
There's a path to 9-10 wins. It's still there.
This conversation would not have happened 2 weeks ago, and it's insane that barely beating the Bears and Heinicke doing Heinicke against the Packers flipped the script on the season. And you know what? You said it, and I'll admit it. We were quick to react on Ron, but those first 4 weeks were brutal, and the quick reaction was warranted. But Ron should have the biggest grin if we beat this Colts team, and he comes out and he could be like, "I told y'all, shut the f up, let the guys work." I'll give him
Yeah,
that, but it's also like, bro,
it's also like,
we're
come on,
we're the only
start the
win the
season
Lions
4
have
weeks
had.
earlier and fix this, because this has been a trend
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's not good.
Like, we're the only win the Lions have had. That's terrible. That's unacceptable. And it wasn't just that the Lions won. The Lions came out and murdered us. Only win of their season so far. Unacceptable.
Yeah. And when we played the Lions, remember how hyped we were about the Lions? Well, they're actually a really good team, and Hard Knocks, and
Yep.
their coach is good.
We came out high from the Jaguars win, and we thought like two juggernauts were gonna meet somehow. 4 TD passes versus Hard Knocks lines, like, and we shit the bed hard,
Yep.
and we shouldn't have.
And
The
it's probably
Eagles
a game that we look back at the end of the season and say, if only we had that game, where would we be? Would we be even fighting for a playoff spot?
And the Titans game, because the Titans ripped off 4 in a row after us, and they're slowly putting together a great season. And we were right there. We were 2 yards away from stealing that win. Once.
This
If
is how the NFL goes.
If Taylor's in, do you win that Titans game? If B-Rob and Gibson are
we've
running
also
better.
seen this with Taylor last year, right? Like, the Taylor magic runs out at some point. You got to win with defense, running the ball, and all those things put together. Like,
the Taylor magic runs out, but there was also a direct correlation between the downplay of Heinicke's play last season and the injuries and COVID that crushed us. He just kept losing weapon after weapon after weapon after weapon as the season progressed. He never had Curtis. He basically only had Terry. Gibson and JD McKissick had to pull magic 80-yard runs out of their ass. Like but we didn't have true weapons like a full complement around him. I will say, speaking of that, what were you pleasantly surprised of when you watched the Packers game? Because for me, it was seeing Armani Rogers and kind of a little bit of Cole Turner, the tight ends getting a little bit more involved. John Bates getting a little bit more involved in blocking, two tight end sets to come in and block. I liked seeing that. I liked seeing Scott Turner realizing that there's a couple more weapons that he can use.
Yeah, again, it's like I said, it's Scott Turner's bipolarness on play calling. Like I thought he had probably an A+ game in calling plays, and we hadn't seen that since week 1.
It has to be. It had to have been Wentz was the biggest dagger to Scott Turner's offense. I don't think Scott Turner is a good coordinator by any stretch of the imagination, but Wentz was definitely breaking it way more than Scott was. I mean, so many
Or
missed
maybe
chances.
Scott just wasn't trusting Wentz enough, and he should have
No,
because
I
he's
mean
a
no.
veteran and
There's
he's
film
not an
there.
idiot. He knows how to play run the plays.
There's film there where Wentz, I mean, come on, not mobile, drifting back out of the pocket, drifting into sacks, missing the open guy, missing the check down receiver. Wentz was all over the map of not making the easy plays. And Heinicke against the Packers, quick release, hitting Gibson, hitting B Rob, hitting JD McKissick, hitting Curtis, quick release plays. And I mean that's also why we saw the tight ends get involved, right? Because they were your escape valve. They were there to help you. Wentz would have missed a lot of those because of the severe lack of confidence in the line because of his own immobility. It's just a giant circle of crap with Wentz. He
Yeah.
did it to himself and then he suffered from what he did to himself.
Well, also Wentz is a type of quarterback where when he makes that mistake, he doesn't necessarily shake it off and
Yeah, he
live
does
for
not
the
have
next play.
short-term memory. Yeah.
Heinicke, I mean, after the pick six and then the fumble, I thought, this guy's going to crumble. Like his first half numbers were putrid.
No, he rose to
But
the occasion.
he came back in. He did what he needed to do. He didn't panic. He didn't try to go for the home run ball every time, and made it happen.
And you know what? I 100% forgive Heinicke's first half against the Packers. Thrust into starting position, didn't really have first team reps all off season in the first 4 weeks. Was basically riding he had to shake off the rust and get back into last season's form all in a half. And then quickly he did it and quickly it worked. Now this game, if he comes out against the Colts, who have a pretty good defense, if he comes out against the Colts and he has a shaky, rocky first half again with a bunch of mental mistakes, you start getting into the unforgivable Heinicke-isms that he brings. But we need to game plan around that. You need to start your first 15, those scripted plays, quick hits, run up the gut, edge rushing, whatever you need to do to just get Heinicke in a groove. Don't do what we were doing with Wentz because of his cannon and come out and be like, boom, deep shot first play. Don't do that because it's probably not going to hit. And then it's going to shake him a little bit. Right?
Yeah. If we can get Dotson back, that will be tremendous in helping Heinicke kind of growing back into getting that confidence into multiple receivers, getting
Honestly,
Terry
Diami,
open.
Dotson, Terry, and Curtis together on the field.
Yeah, I unfortunately I don't think I see Dotson back this week.
Probably not. And there's no reason to rush it with soft tissue.
It's also been 4 weeks now.
He missed
But
Bears and Packers. That's it.
No,
He didn't
I
miss
think he missed the
Cowboys.
game.
Or Titans? Did he miss Titans? Yeah, he missed Titans because that's when Diame had all those catches. So 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. But if he really re-injured it last week in practice, then that pretty much resets the clock.
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I think this team
I'm
has
higher
handled
on the
injuries actually
team.
pretty well,
Yeah.
right? Like I think the way that they're handling Chase, I think, is good. The way that they handled Curtis has been good. The way that they're handling McKissick, right? Don't forget, he's coming back from an injury too.
Yeah.
Now, Logan, I think, was maybe rushed a little bit, but I probably would put that more on Logan than on the team.
Yeah. He looks fine. Honestly, when you watch Chase, Chase looks fine too. I understand the patience, but it's like just put him on a pitch count. Like get him geared up this week, get him conditioned, put him on a pitch count against the Vikings, and then let's roll.
Did you see that RG3 thinks he wishes that the Commanders or then the Redskins treated him like they treated Chase with his injury?
That's
What?
the most infuriating statement I've ever heard you say.
All in for week 1, but somehow I wanted the team to hold me out. What a
Yeah,
tool.
like first of all, hold yourself out against the playoff game. Like you shouldn't have even been in that game. So you did it to yourself. Yes,
Could you imagine
Shanahan
if he held himself out? Kirk Cousins starts his career winning like the Super
the
Bowl,
playoff game.
the Super Bowl,
Yeah, I mean he would have
like
been
going
Nick
all the
Foles.
way. I mean, but those were also been all primetime games, and we would have lost them.
Yeah, but maybe he doesn't even fall into the primetime curse if he starts out strong, because that team was strong.
That team was
Also,
strong.
who's the backup for Ehlinger?
Was it Colt
Nick
McCoy?
Foles. It's Nick Foles.
Who? Nick Foles.
Yeah. Would it surprise you
I would not be surprised at all to see Nick Foles.
if Ehlinger is complete hot garbage in the first half, second half Foles comes out and the Colts look like the freaking I don't know 95 Cowboys. I don't know what you can compare them to, but they just come out and they just look dominant, and we're like, we already adjusted in halftime. Are we allowed to adjust again?
I want to look at Sam Ellinger's college stats. Here we go. So he has 923 completions for 1,476 attempts. That's 62.5%. Over his
He's
career, he's
Heinicke.
94 touchdowns, 27 interceptions.
He's Heinicke. You said it yourself. Like everybody on Colts Twitter and like Reddit, they're all comparing Ellinger to Heinicke. They're the same person. I think Heinicke might have a little bit more dog in him, a little bit more fight, a little bit more swag and confidence.
His last year in college, he only completed 60% of his passes.
That's about Heinicke numbers.
Yeah. Again, doesn't matter. Get to the quarterback, put pressure on him. That's your key to success. 100%.
The key should be
And contain
you
Jonathan
ride
Allen.
this defense.
Jonathan Taylor.
The key should be you ride this defense, you ride this front. Payne and Allen and Sweat need to completely take over the game. Sort of the way Sweat did against the Bears. And honestly the entire defense. And let's not forget over everything, Tress Way. 2 muffed punts. Left-footed kicker coming in clutch for us. Left-handed kicker making it so hard for these receivers to get the ball that we're pushing into the blocker and getting those balls 2 weeks in a row. If you can get me a third week with some big special teams field flipping play, that's massive. That's massive on Tressway.
And speaking of special teams, we haven't talked about Antonio Gibson returning kicks.
Yeah, let's see him start returning some punts too, please.
Yeah, I mean, him returning the kicks, like every time it was Dax back there and it was a kick inside the 20, inside the 20, inside the 20.
Did
As
you
soon as Gibson's in
see
there, 25, 30,
there was
31,
some
32.
stupid article from some national media outlet talking about the best landing spots for Gibson on the trading block, and I
He's
think
not
one
on the
of them
trading
was
block. Why would
I
he be on the
know,
trading
but
block?
they're saying like what can the Commanders get for Gibson, and where's the best place for him to land? I don't want anybody in a 500-mile radius of Ashburn to have that thought. Please do not
Well,
get rid
there's
of
also
Gibson.
national media who's talking about Deron Payne getting traded. None of that's going to happen.
No, and none of it should happen because we are not rebuilding, and we are not one player away
We're
from
in
winning the Super Bowl. We're
500
in mediocre
purgatory.
land. Yes. So if we were full rebuild mode, if we were the Carolina Panthers, yes, sell the world, get me all the picks. We're not doing that. If we were the Rams, who are like, oh, we're just one solid running back away from turning this shit around, then yeah, go out and get Christian McCaffrey or go make some big plays. But we're neither of them.
Agreed. Yeah, we're in 500 purgatory.
All right,
I'll
let's
tell
hit
you
the
who's not in
over-unders.
500 purgatory is the 3-1 Wizards.
Hey, they'll
It's early.
be.
They'll get
I,
there.
if
It's
I
early.
see this play after 15 games, then I'll buy in. How about that?
Well, we saw it after what 11 or
Yeah.
probably after
Give me
15 games
give me after
last year.
15
We were good.
games. If you're still playing like this, I'll buy in.
I'm buying in. I think. I mean, Wes Unseld Jr. is, I think, a decent coach. Brad's not being the workhorse that he needs to be, that he was used to being, which is I think is a good thing.
Does the back tightness not concern you with Brad?
He came back in.
I know, but Brad, back
Back
tightness.
tightness.
Back tightness
I
could
get back
be I'm
tightness
back
all
in
the
and
time.
I'm good, or back tightness could be I'm missing a quarter of the season.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably approaching 30.
I have back tightness from leaning into the mic right now just over this podcast. So
Yeah, I get back tightness from sleeping on my stomach. So
all right, can you pull up the over unders for the Commanders Colts game? Let's hit that and wrap this beauty up.
all right, over unders for the Commanders. How did we do last week?
I don't know, but let me take the mic while you bring that up. I've been doing beautifully on my FanDuel account. I've been hitting big bet after big bet after big bet.
I can attest to this.
It is a thing of beauty. It's like $200 payouts each bet off like a $5, $10 bet, $25 bet.
It's too early. They haven't posted them yet.
Yeah, Wednesday night. Let's predict.
Commanders are plus 118 straight up,
Really?
and the money line
That's some
is
disrespect. So a first time starter, and we're still the underdogs?
we're plus 3. Yep. And the line is set for 39.5.
So much disrespect. Did you also see the week's power rankings? Like the Bears are like 6 pole positions higher than us. Packers are like 10 pole positions higher than us.
The
Like I
Packers are plus
understand that we're
400
not.
against the Bills this week.
Oh, dude, what's
I
what's
could see
the what's the
yeah,
points? What's the point spread?
10.5.
I would take that.
The Bills are good,
I
but
would I
you
would
can't imagine the Packers are going to be horrible for the whole season.
I would put my entire balance that the Bills cover that.
Do it.
What would it be? What would the payout be? Let's say
$5
500. Let's say I put $500.
on the Bills covering
Yeah,
10.5. It's
or over. Let's say over.
you get $450.
I might have to do it. That might be easy money. And
Ten
Lazard is
and a half
hurt.
is a lot of points.
And Lazard is hurt. Come on, dude.
Have they signed anyone yet?
I
Is
think they're
OBJ a
looking.
Packer yet?
I think they're looking at Elijah Mitchell from the Jets, possibly Chase Claypool.
Yeah, but none of those things are going to happen this week.
It could. Christian McCaffrey from
Yeah,
Friday
they could.
to Sunday. Good.
Yeah, the Bills are good though.
So good. Jonathan Allen single-handedly is what's keeping me in my fantasy league.
You mean Josh Allen?
Josh Allen. Yes.
All right, FP, let's put a bow on the show. Who do you got winning this week?
Commanders win. 40 burger on the Colts. 42-16.
Can we go back to saying hail to the Redskins since Tanya said it?
Tanya said it. We could say it. Hail to the Redskins.
This
Actually,
has been
Jason
fun.
Wright said hail to the Skins.
Oh, did he? He doesn't even know our full name, huh?
Nope, he probably forgot it.
Hail to the Redskins, hail to the Skins, hail to the Commanders. This has been fun for DTC. That is FP, and I am LP. Interact with us on Twitter at Defeat the Curse. Let us know what you think of the game. We are out.